Hello, beautiful creative soul, and welcome back to another episode of Chakra-Care for the Creative Soul. Hello, I'm your host, Pollyanna Blanco, and today we're in the moment of day 4, moving forward with our 7-part series of spiritual hygiene, focusing on each of one of the 7 in-body chakras. Today we're going to be looking at going beyond balancing the heart chakra, and I'm so happy that you're joining me either live or on the replay. And a little later on in the show, I'm going to be inviting you to share your comments or ask questions. And I'm just so happy to be back here with all of you again, because really we're at this incredible moment on Earth with so much moving so quickly and this rapid up leveling and rebirthing time. And so our energy bodies really need our conscious attention. They need us to care for them, because they interplay with our physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual bodies. And if we can bring some awareness to what's going on beyond just sort of our old ways of looking at self-care, then we can really begin to show up even more fully for ourselves. And this is why I'm so passionate about this topic, because I know at the end of the day, we wouldn't have chosen to be here at this time on Earth if our soul wasn't calling us to something more than we can even see in this now moment. And so this show is really about the bridge to the soul, because the first 3 chakras that I talked with you about over the past several episodes, the root chakra, the sacral chakra, the solar plexus chakra, are all what I like to call the human chakras. They're more connected to our ego personality and our survival needs. And they're really critical because they give us that firm foundation upon which to build a bridge to our higher chakras, our ascended chakras. And so stabilizing those is really key. And today's episode, because we're focusing on the heart chakra, the heart really is where we begin to open beyond survival to not only our spirit with the higher chakras, but our soul, this unmistakable reason for being here on Earth at this time, with everything that's unfolding, with everything that's happening, as wild and raucous and crazy as it may seem at times, and as difficult as it may even be at times. Because if you're a lighter, I know that you have been through many, many journeys and adventures, and to get you to this now moment. And I bow before you, and I want to just take a moment and place my hands on my heart right now, since we're talking about the heart chakra, and just pause for a moment. I'm feeling really guided to do this, to honor you for being here, to honor you for continuing to show up for yourself, to learn, to grow, to be curious, to expand, because the world needs you right now. So I'm just going to invite you to join me with your hands on your heart, if it's safe to do so. I'm just going to take 3 Ave Sa breaths. These are beautiful breaths that I learned from my beloved teachers, Master Lady Kira Ra and Sri Ram Ka. And I love using them because they remind us to stay connected and online with the divine at all times. If you're not familiar with this breath, on the inhale, the Ave is that I awaken and open to my divine presence. And then on the exhalation, the Sa is the trust in the recognition of that presence being here now, guiding me. And the smile is that reassurance to the body of form that that presence is here and loving and showing up for you, right? So let's honor you right now for being here. I invite you to join me in the first breath. Ave. Sa. And again, Ave. Sa. And on the third breath, one more time, Ave. Really letting it out and allowing that beautiful smile to form on your face. Even if you feel a little goofy at first, it's all good. So, one of the things that I didn't mention in the past episodes that I feel guided to bring into this episode is how, and some of you may already be familiar with this, is how there are different elements that we, you know, that are connected to each of these energy centers, is how I want to put it. So, for example, with the root chakra, there's a lot of earth energy. It's the feeling of that we have the right to be here on this planet at this time, that we belong, and that we're grounded. This is so important. If we're going to bring heaven to earth, we need to be grounded in our bodies. And this is where we deal with the primary issue of safety and survival, and we transform it into the peace that passes all understanding, that deep peace of knowing that we are supported, knowing that we are loved, knowing that we are meant to be here because we chose it on a soul level. The sacral chakra is very much a center of our emotionality. It's connected to water, and water is that, if water sits stagnant, it doesn't move, it becomes stagnant. It needs to move, it needs to flow. It's that creative flow, it's that fecundity, it's that life force energy circulating because it feels free to do so, because it feels safe. And initially it can be transactional, because there can still be tinges as the root chakra is balancing itself and stabilizing itself, ultimately tinges of transaction. It can be focused on immediate gratification and scarcity programming, and then it gradually, with loving care, shifts into love. And love is the beginnings of that presence that we're going to be speaking about even more so today with the heart chakra. It starts with our first relationship on that ego mind level, that personality level. That's why it's so often attached to, if you do this, then I'll love you. And if you don't do this, then you don't get my love. And stuff that country and Western songs are made up of all the time, right? Those songs. He done me wrong, she done me wrong, and on it goes. And so there is forgiveness work too in the sacral chakra. And then the element that we move up to with the solar plexus chakra is fire. This is the fire of our passion, the fire of our purpose. And this can also, when again coming from, unbalanced, like an overactive solar plexus chakra, it can be, that anger energy where we haven't quite yet fully integrated how to become empowered. And we tend to seek power over situations by overpowering situations. And we can sometimes misdirect and channel that anger energy too forcefully. I mean, anger has a healthy purpose. It lets us know where our edges are, where our boundaries are in terms of having healthy boundaries. But again, let loose and wild. It's like, a forest fire burning, it ravages. So, and again, an underactive solar plexus would be not enough fire, not enough just life force energy. Because another way to think of fire is it's light, and we are light beings. And so our vitality is our light, and our love is that presence of that light. And so this is why, when we're talking about opening our chakras, it's opening our awareness to these energy centers. And then when we're talking about balancing them, what we're doing is we're, bringing focused awareness and sincere attention to taking active steps to begin to expand through them. And then when we stabilize them, we've been claiming the learning. We've been receiving the insights that allow us to pan out even more from our association with whatever seems immediate and present, like, so for example, if we're focused on our fear and our scarcity and what we don't have, it's very hard to create more of what we do want, because that's where we're putting our attention. And so it's the same thing with, if we're focused on certain emotions, especially ones that are, emotions that tend to keep us locked into fear too, or you get the idea here. All of these things, these experiences become ways that we can, when we realize we're not our emotions, we're not our thoughts, because also the solar plexus, as I shared last week, is very much about our thoughts, and the root chakra is very much about our body. When we can begin to realize we have all of these experiences, and yet they are not the definition of who we are in and of themselves. They're cofactors contributing to our experience of ourselves, but they are not who we are. Then this is when we start to stabilize them. We start to witness them. We start to see beyond the illusion of the immediacy of what they're asking of us in this now moment. And we can choose again. We can decide, am I going to believe that thought? Is that thought helpful? Is it kind? Is it relevant? Is it moving me in the direction that I say, oh yeah, I want to go in? Same thing with the emotion, and also with the body too. We have these programs too about all of these, our thoughts, our emotions, and our body, these limiting beliefs that can also keep us locked into certain relationships with them, relationships that are not healthy and are not stable. You talk about having a stable relationship with a partner, with a family member, with a business even, and yet it starts with having a stable relationship with our energy centers, because they are feedback loops. And so having a stable relationship is really where the heart chakra comes in, and caring for the heart chakra. Because today, what I want to do is talk about all of the different dimensions to the heart chakra, because there are many. And really, this is where we begin to invite spirit in and reframe, what and how that looks for us, because of how we relate to our spirit and how we perceive it. And maybe is there some dogma or some limiting beliefs in there about what it even means to be connected to our spirit. That's a lot to take in, isn't it? Like, I have a lot to share today. Take a deep breath in. And at the same time, the element for the heart chakra, I'm just peeking at my watch because I have so much to share today. The heart chakra is air. And similar to water, air is very much about, it needs to circulate. If you've ever been in a place that doesn't have good air circulation, it feels stuffy, the air doesn't smell fresh. This is a lot like the relationships we have connected to this energy center. If we're not allowing spaciousness to notice what we're noticing, it can get really stale. And this is where we can end up shutting down this energy center, because likes to hang out in a stale room. It's not very much fun, right? So the very first relationship in the center is our relationship to our breath. A lot of us hold our breath. And again, when I've been talking about the first three chakras, I know it can sort of start to sound like building blocks, like, first you get one and then you get the next one, because that's linear sequential. That's the way we've been kind of led to believe life goes in the 3D realm. But again, because we're multidimensional beings, it's cyclical. We cycle through all of these energy centers over and over and over again, and they layer in on each other. And there's even more complexities to them that I'm sharing with you. This is like Chakras 101. There's so many other shows about that I could dive into, and I will in the future. But for now, to keep our focus, I do want to share that that very first relationship with your heart chakra is to your breath. How are you breathing? Are you even noticing your breathing? Because it's the one thing our body, fortunately and thankfully, does for us that we often take for granted. I know for years I held my breath. Part of it was I had studied ballet for 17 years, and the way I learned habitually to breathe through all those years of training was kind of odd. Because I had to hold, I wasn't supposed to hold my breath. I knew that, but because I had to hold my stomach in to maintain a certain posture, I think I adopted a very strange way of breathing, which took many years to unwind, and many, many years to unwind. Holding our breath too impacts us on so many levels. It's not just even about the breath; it impacts us physically, emotionally, mentally. How we oxygenate our cells, so many things. So the breath is the very first relationship that we have to care for, to notice, to witness, to be curious about. So I would ask you right now, just take a quick moment and check in with yourself. Just notice, how is your breath right now? And the key, and this is the other really important piece I wanted to share about the heart chakra and how it's a unique bridge from the first three chakras, is the key is to be curious without judgment. Because what really opens and ultimately helps to stabilize the heart chakra energy center, both the giving from it and the receiving from it, from others, is the non-judgment. You see, the first three chakras really are getting us to that point where we feel safe enough, we feel loved enough, and we feel joyous enough so that we can be in that energy of trust in this now moment with whatever is out picturing, so that we have the energetic nourishment, the cup fully filled, if you will, to be able to go out into the world. And when unusual things happen, new ones happen, you're like, oh, wow, that car just cut in front of me. Instead of going into judgment, maybe just holding space for the fact that, thank goodness everyone's okay. And maybe they're late for work. Maybe they're distracted because they just received some bad news. We don't know the story. But you see, that judgment is what keeps the center collapsed. It keeps us from fully embracing the inner jewels and riches. And actually, the symbol itself speaks to that. Without going into too much detail, it's literally an altar. It's literally an altar with jewels on it. And if you were to focus on the symbol that is literally in the image of the thumbnail of this this episode, it would invite you into a meditation on the inner riches inside of you. Because our inner riches have to do with how we're in relationship to everything and everyone, and it starts with ourselves. So the breath is the first one, and I've got a few notes here because there's so many relationships, and I want to make sure I hit them all. The next one is love and self-compassion. You see, when we're able to be in that place of non-judgment, that love that we started anchoring in the sacral chakra, that acceptance of ourselves and others, blossoms into this beautiful opening in the heart chakra where we can just celebrate ourselves and accept ourselves where we are, and really know that we are perfect. Because I shared this on a past episode, I can't remember which one, but the origin of the word perfect, because, well, the origin of the word perfect is compassion. And the reason I pull this out is because if you've been on your inner awakening journey and you've stumbled across decrees. I know when I was doing my violet flame decrees over 20 years ago, I kept finding the word perfect in a lot of spiritual literature. And as a recovering perfectionist at the time, I was like, OMG, what is that about? Now I have to be perfect spiritually. This is like too tall an order. What I didn't know then that I know now is that the perfect that a lot of spiritual writings speak of is not the perfection of the ego mind, obviously. It is the perfection of the compassion. And again, I'm going to go back to my beloved teachers. and if you don't already know them, I'm sure you do because you're most likely watching this on Oneness Talk Radio. But if you're on my channel, Multidimensional Muse, watching this episode, I encourage you to go check them out. It's shriankira.com, and they have an amazing YouTube channel too with lots of amazing learning. Their expression, and I believe it's Archangel Zadkiel who says it, because Master Lady Kira Ra is channel, an oracle. And, love yourself. You know not what you do, like those aspects of self that are just trying to keep you safe, and just love them. They know not what they do. When you can offer yourself that self-compassion and that extra room to witness it all, then it's a lot easier to carry that out into the world. The next relationship is to your shadow and your authentic self, which, if you have the compassion piece there, makes it a whole lot easier to be open and curious to, what's going on underneath the hood cap, or underneath the hood. And a practice I really like to use is when I'm upset about something, if an old hurt or grievance or resentment comes up, I ask myself, how old are you? Like, how old are you? And oftentimes it's uncanny. It'll be not my adult self. It never really is my adult self. It's always a younger version of myself that I've been shoving down, ignoring, minimizing, overlooking, avoiding, one of those things. And when I can ask it how old it is, and then engage in an intuitive back and forth with it, a lot of wisdom is revealed, and a lot can be shifted in that simple self-care practice. And then the authentic self can come forward, and that shadow self that had been kind of like a mushroom lurking in the dark finally gets to feel seen and heard. It's that light of awareness that allows things to shift and reintegrate that fragment of this being back into informed awareness. So that's a powerful sacred self-care practice I can share with you today for the Heart Center. Gratitude, of course, and being grateful, taking a moment to really, be thankful. A practice I love at first thing in the morning is I do a lot of affirmations where I live from the end. I give thanks for them already being here, right now, regardless of what is out picturing in front of me right now or what happened yesterday. I also, even before I even do that, set an intention, for, the day, sort of in a general way. Like, I'm so excited and happy about the peace, the flow, the joy, the calm today. And I look forward to it. And so I get out ahead of myself. That's another practice I really love to use that I consider a gratitude practice, because it's the catch them doing something right, catch yourself doing something right, catch the universe doing something right game. And if you make it a game, it makes it really fun and enjoyable. Another relationship is to our grief, because along the way, there will be loss. This is a natural part of life. Life is about change, and change brings the perception of loss. And loss is real. Loss of a loved one, loss of a pet, loss of a job, loss of a friendship. So many losses. I mean, the list is endless. And grief is a very real experience. And when we can bring that compassion to it, and when we can bring even gratitude for the grief process to it, this helps us to be kinder and gentler to ourselves and to others who are moving through similar experiences. And this, by default, invites our heart chakra to open, invites us to be out of the busy mind and in the heart. And this is the most important part of opening our heart chakra, is that in this busy, fast-paced, materialistic 3D world that we're navigating, the mind really likes to take charge. And especially when we're not fully in our bodies, it's because we often don't feel safe. And so that's when the mind tends to really, really become the big boss, right? The jefe. And yet, when we are grounded and we feel safer, this is what allows us to begin to be more present and anchor into our heart, which in the ascended chakra system is actually the new root chakra. And this is because when we are feeling that connection to our heart, like really, really feeling that love, that acceptance, that compassion, that non-judgment, that just those riches, then we feel it's okay to move through this day without judgment, that everything's okay, everything's well, regardless of the feedback from the mind, regardless of the body of form, regardless of what emotions get triggered. It's all here happening through me for a higher good. And so this is where the soul lessons and the soul learning come in at the heart chakra. You know, again, going back to my teachers, what in me invited this to be? Rather than this is happening to me, this is happening for me to help me to grow, to help me to expand beyond identifying with it as me. And so this is the blessing of our grieving, because it's in our vulnerability that we can truly be authentic with ourselves, you know, and also vulnerability is means we're free of shame, and the root chakra is all about shame. There's something wrong with me. So when we can be fully anchored in our heart chakras, this is a shame-free zone, right? And so it's just that we've dissolved that old habit of the habit that's painful and uncomfortable and keeps us stuck in struggle, right? When we can love and accept ourselves, then it's easier to be vulnerable. And, you know, vulnerability is really that ability to be intimate with ourselves, that ability to see and acknowledge who we are. And forgiveness. Forgiveness is another, the relationship we have to our forgiveness. You know, do we have a forgiveness practice? There's an amazing one at sharingkira.com. It's a 70 by 70 practice. And I've done it before multiple times. It's a commitment, and it pays dividends in terms of, you know, freeing the self from the illusions. Forgiveness is not condone something as being okay. It's giving up a hope of a different past so that you can move forward. It's a gift you give yourself. All of these things you've probably heard before. Forgiveness is where we create, it's like a psychic decluttering, if you will. Clean out your closet of all the stuff that's been hanging around, and you make space for something so much better. The other relationship is to our friendships. You know, how much space and room in life are we making to connect with other people, you know, and to really circulate that love and that presence and that kindness that we are giving to ourselves, because we're meant to live in community. We're meant to be each other's, you know, brother and sister and friend and to link arms, because ultimately there is only one of us, you know. And so being out there and just looking into those soul mirrors continues to help us to expand our heart chakra. And then the ultimate one is the service, right? Our relationship to service. So you can see this beautiful upward spiral of how all of these different relationships, when practiced, begin to open and expand this chakra and lift us up and through and out of old hurts, old wounds, old grievances, old resentments, and to kind of, as the saying says, make lemonade out of lemons, right? To really open to the soul lessons, open to the soulfulness of life beyond the sort of superficial level of things, and to really dive into the depths of our being and and equalize as we come up along the way, so we can have a really glorious, expanded experience of who we are. And really and truly, this is where our inner riches reside. And I know from having traveled to countries around the world where especially there isn't a lot of material abundance, and yet people are smiling, people are happy. You know, that has been bar none one of the biggest heart openings in my own life, to see that generosity of spirit, that joyousness that comes from a connection to the heart. And I found in some of these countries that the heart is collectively more open, it's more built into the culture. And so this is something that really is a beautiful reminder that our riches come from that heart presence. And it's not that the mind doesn't, have a role in our life, but you can feel it energetically when someone is speaking from their heart versus speaking from their head. Someone speaking from their heart is sincerely looking to connect with another human being, is showing up with presence and consideration and curiosity, warmth and joy, and just, you know, goodwill, I guess is what I want to say. And so imagine a world where this is the new norm, and this is what is really what we're co-creating together right now. This is why caring for energy centers is so important. And on that note, I feel guided to just hop over to the chat and just see if there's anyone with a message. And I think there might be. Oh, wonderful. Okay. Oh my gosh, Batya, thank you so much. Love you too. Wonderful. I'm so glad you're here watching live. This is wonderful. I'm getting choked up. My throat's getting. And Serge, thank you for being back here again. Oh my goodness. Thank you. Holy, holy blessings to all of you, sending unconditional love, sending divine love, sending agape love to you, all holy family and friends, and so many beautiful emoticons. Serge, thank you. Thank you for all the love from both of you, and sending that love to everyone here, for all of us, right? Together, gosh, love. Oh, I'm going to say something kind of redonkulous, like love is contagious. What a great contagion to have. No, that's wrong. That just doesn't feel right to say, but I don't know why I felt guided to say it. I mean, because I just kind of feel like in this time of the Kali Yuga, when up is down and down is up, wouldn't it be wonderful if the love bug were like the greatest thing? Oh yeah, I want to catch that. Bring it on. I'm waiting for it, choose me, that would be awesome, right? So, well, this is what I felt guided to share with all of you today. And next week, I'll be sharing some guided inspiration and thoughts and musings on the throat chakra. And I want to wish all of you a wonderful weekend. I hope it's a beautiful day for you wherever you are. And most importantly, keep listening to your heart. Years ago, I received a powerful message, and it has walked beside me. It has been a guiding light and a force inside of me for many years. This was, wow, gosh, yeah, about around over 20 years ago. It was during, I think, my second or third Reiki session on a Reiki table, where I was just on beginning my inner awakening journey. And I heard a very profound message from Spirit that love can move mountains. And sometimes I can't remember what I did yesterday. So when something stays with me that long, I know it's my soul. I know it's spirit. I know it's that the universe speaking through me, not only for me, but for all of you. And of course, there's a wonderful song too. I'd love to listen to that, put that on. It reminds me of that message. I really believe, truly know in my heart, because the heart also too is beyond belief. That's another just little tidbit I wanted to toss out there too. My own journey so far, I've noticed that there are moments where I just get this intuitive flash of knowing, I don't know how I know. I don't care how I know that I know. I just know. And I know you've had that experience too. And when you just know that you know, and your heart just, you feel whoomp, like that warmth expand in your heart, it always leads somewhere good. That is bar none like the breadcrumb of breadcrumbs that I love to follow and gobble up, because it's like, it's beyond high speed internet connection to the divine. It is that moment of just like, you know, I can trust myself. I've got this, and the divine has got my back, and I am so supported and so loved. So the next time you feel the breeze moving over your skin, just know that that is the divine caressing you, loving you, wrapping you, enfolding you in its love and support. So Mother Earth is dreaming all of us into being right now. And even if we believe and know, we know because it's our hearts. I know I'm originally from Sirius. I can own that. And many other star systems. We chose to be here now on Earth for a very powerful reason. And it's like a beautiful fable that's unfolding before us. We're just discovering it, moment by moment, step by step, breath by breath. And literally that beautiful just trust in the fact that even Mother Earth is dreaming us. We're at one with her being. She's dreaming us into being. I think it's so important as a light worker. That just came through right now too. I know I'm about to wrap up here, but I just know I have to say this also. This is what Spirit wants me to share with everyone, is that we are so needed and loved by Mother Earth. She offers us oxygen through her plants, water to bathe, rinse, and restore our energy fields, and especially salt water, earth to feel stable and strong, held on. And so she, if ever there's a moment in your life where something or some experience or some one of those aspects of self is trying to pull you into the mosh pit, remember this. Pay attention to Mother Earth. She loves you so much. She's dreaming you into being. So as a light worker, I know sometimes in my own journey, it's been easier to be like, beam me up, Scotty. I want to be up, and away. But I know on a soul level, I chose to be here in this incarnation because I'm meant to be here and to anchor something powerful for the collective. And it's being revealed to me moment by moment, step by step. And that is, very reassuring to this body of form, that it's safe for me to be here as that, off-planet spirit that really decided to, move in here for this experience. So thank you again, Serge. I really appreciate your comment. That's really lovely. Thank you for this great teaching. I'm humbled by that. I just trust that whatever wants to come through will come through. And I wish you a wonderful week, all of you. Lots of love and light. Really be well. Continue to take really good care of yourself. Believe in yourself. You're loved beyond measure. I love all of you. I love you for being here. And keep trusting yourself, trusting the divine speaking through you, and know that, you matter, and that everything that you're doing is making a difference. Even if you can't see immediately that it is. There's, got to look underneath the water level. There's so much going on. Your presence today has made a huge difference in my life, sincerely, because I do this on pure faith, and I show up, for no other reason than to show up. And because I trust there's a message out here for someone, and that's become clearer and clearer to me. And I know all of you have that in you. So keep trusting it. Keep really trusting it, and know that you're making an enormous difference. And you've made an enormous difference in my life today by being here. This is how we're better together. Lots of love and light, beautiful creative souls. Be well.